We are now live, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Gun Nation.
Hello. So we'll wait a few minutes and we'll get into the actual topic and then, go from there.
That's weird. It says live. I didn't get the one where we actually went live. Yeah, there it is. I think it's coming up.
Took a few minutes there.
No, it says something went wrong. Hang on. Something went wrong.
I'm getting an advertisement.
There it is. I didn't get. All right. We are up.
Make sure you mute your stuff.
I did.
Sean.
Crazy Scotsman, Craig. Craig was he was noting first.
Woo.
Crazy Scotsman, Jesus is God. Captain Shark, Captain Phil. We got all the captains representing.
Where's Lieutenant Dan?
V-Borg. Got Channel Cat. Says Troll checking in.
Troll checking in.
That's yeah, that'd be about right.
Yeah, Papa's Place.
Yeah, man, you're getting some seriously long ads going on here. You're getting paid, buddy.
Yeah, boy. Cha-ching.
Break it in the
whole $1.20 by the time it's all over. Oh, yeah.
Hello.
I'm going to get rid of my Patreon account right now.
That's right.
All right. So how many people we got on right now?
We have 9.
Ooh, wow. We're really pushing it.
That's right. Oh, 10. We're good.
Killing it. 7 up, 3 downs in the house.
Oh, now we're back down to 9.
Nope. There we
go.
What's up, Mateo?
Mateo. Maybe everybody's getting a little bit, turned off by this topic. I don't know. There's been like 4,000 live chats about it already.
Yeah, that's true.
And I certainly didn't want people to think we were trying to, capitalize on this at all. But I felt it was worth chatting about, so we may not be talking too much guns tonight. We'll probably be talking a little bit more of things that we don't normally have really on the agenda. And it's really about what happened. So,
yeah. Well, I think it could potentially impact all of us.
Oh, yeah.
David Dean is from Jamaica in the Caribbean.
Wow.
Hey, David.
Wow.
How's it going, man?
Farthest one we've had so far.
Well, come on.
Kevin Roberts, James Rowe. All right, you want to get this party started? We got 17.
Yeah, let's get it rolling because we got an hour of lots of time. So, all right. So anyway, as you guys saw on the topic for tonight, we're going to be discussing Las Vegas and what happened out there. We're going to kind of look at it from a different perspective, though. I know there's a lot more facts that have been coming out in the past couple of days, and obviously there is a lot more facts that people are trying to, try to, I guess you can say, get, or at least try to understand what the hell this guy was thinking. And what pushed him to this, if it was radicalization from not just, maybe Islamic fundamentalism, but also of leftist fundamentalism. But I think also we should really start looking about the after effects and the ripples that are now going to be caused by this event, not only for the gun community, but also there really should be a conversation that started not just about ending guns, because to me, that is really the secondary issue. The primary issue for me personally is the mental health issues that this country is facing. I mean, if you look at how many people are medicated, how many people are taking some heavy types of psychedelic drugs, and what these side effects are, violent tendencies, sleeplessness, you name it. I really think that should be on the agenda, because you can take guns away. The bad guy is still going to get them. The good guy will probably play by the rules and not have them. And at the end of the day, you're still going to get tragedies like this. And it may not be a gun tomorrow. It could be a bus. It could be a truck. It could be a fertilizer bomb. It could be any of the above. But nonetheless, the real topic, in my opinion, is, the sickness that's really enveloped the nation as a whole, not just politically, but also medically, And honestly, for me, I thought about this today, and I'll let you guys speak after this. The person I hold to blame for a lot of this is our former president, Barack Obama. We obviously saw some issues that happened under his presidency, and instead of uniting the country, he divided the country even further by trying to stoke racial division. And I think we're seeing the aftermath of that guy. So who would like to go next?
Go ahead, Chaos.
So Obviously a lot to talk about here. And one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot after this, and got together with a buddy of mine last night. He's a fellow shooter, great guy, very close friend of mine. He asked me kind of that hard question: how do you feel about the events of Las Vegas and that sort of thing? And beyond the tragedy that it was, and obviously it was a horrendous tragedy, and I feel for every person involved in any way, shape, or form with that. And it's hard to articulate that anymore. However, I think this now goes into a conversation, at least from our point of view, being gun people that we are to one degree or another. What are some of the downstream impacts that this could potentially cause? And although a lot of us over time have taken a pretty firm stance, Second Amendment, these are our rights, this is it, that's kind of the end of the debate sort of thing. And to a degree, I still believe in that. And I certainly still believe in the Second Amendment, of course, don't get me wrong. But because I think people are going to start kind of coming after guns again, over and over again. It happens. It might be an opportunity for us to try and find a way to sit down and have a good, thoughtful, logical conversation about how we can prevent tragedies like this, not keep guns out of good people's hands that can enjoy guns for what they are, sporting and hunting and self-protection and all that sort of thing. I think that needs to continue to happen. We are our best first line of defense. However, I think we have an opportunity to look at how we can hopefully try as best we can to prevent these things, knowing that at the end of the day, these things are probably always going to happen. We've always said over time that bad people can get guns, or they can get other weapons. They can go to the grocery store and they can make a bomb. These things can happen, and we are not always going to be able to prevent every single tragedy. But everything that we can do to prevent senseless acts like this, I think we ought to look into that and see how we can make some more sense. And of course, we'll talk about these sorts of things throughout the rest of the night. So that's kind of where I am right now.
Yeah. And, it seems like us as gun people, we are always on the defense, no matter what happens. If there's, anything that happens. I mean, if a child gets a gun, and hurts itself or something like that, we're always under attack. And like we've all, I know a lot of us have said too, it's a constant battle to make sure that we, of course, can uphold our Second Amendment, still have that right. Everybody wants to strip it away just like they have other countries. Government wants power, and we stand up for it along with the NRA and other groups. Not saying the NRA is end all, because they're not, but I agree with some of the other people, like Wicked Stance and stuff like that, that we have to fight and we have to have our say and we have to go to our congressman and let them know, we can only say so much. It's an everyday battle with this deal, and it will be. It'll continue.
And the thing also about that, though, is that it's not a one-dimensional problem. I mean, we're talking about, yes, we do need to obviously fight for our rights and keep them, and if not, try to advance our agenda on them. But the problem is it's not a one-dimensional argument. You're always going to have those people who are trying to make this into something that it's not, and they make it into a gun issue.
Yes.
It is not a gun issue. There's what, 330 million people in the United States. There's about I think there's like 350, maybe 400 million guns in the United States. And so we don't have these things happening every day. The problem is that you have, and again, I guess is where the conspiracy starts to come out a little bit, but you have these agendas that are basically medically cocktailing everybody in society. If you don't like your job, well, then you have a problem psychologically. Well, if you feel unhappy today, well, you must be depressed. Take this pill. The problem is that you're pumping people filled with this crap that is screwing up their chemistry, screwing up their brain chemistry. And then they have these, either they're being pushed towards it or they just have these psychotic breaks. And then it makes everything that we fight for and everything that we believe in number one enemy in the United States. So it's not, I'm not saying that we don't fight for our gun rights. I'm saying that we need to hit the target of what we're looking at. Okay. This person obviously was not rational nor sane.
Right. But, but it always brings up the point of, and everybody can say this too, we all can't fix crazy. We just can't. You know, people are going to have depressive states. People are going to do what they're going to do. Now, in that same situation, if someone's depressed, they can get in their truck and they can crash through people. They can grab a baseball bat and take out people, a knife. You know, we all know that. But it seems like the instrument that's always at the forefront is the gun. It's not the automobile or the cigarettes or the alcohol. It's none of that. You know, it always gets the gun. So that's where everyone goes to. So they think if they can disable the gun, they can just stop all this, and they can't.
Right.
That has nothing, no bearing in this at all. If you want someone dead, you can do it with your hands. So, I mean, that's what we need to take the gun out of this whole issue. Like what you're saying, everybody needs to get off the gun and focus on something else, period.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. What's the saying? When there's a bombing, they blame the bomber. There's a drunk driving accident, they blame the driver. Yes. But when there's a shooting, they blame the gun. Sort of. And I totally. This is not about a gun. This is not about a tool. This is not about an inanimate object that didn't go off by itself. This is about the person operating the tool, whatever that tool happens to be. And in this case, it's a gun. And of course, that makes guns easy targets, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, if a guy would have been, if some guy would have ran through the hotel, busting out windows, all the glass would have fell on people and killed them. So what are you going to do? Say, oh, you know,
the other thing too to think about in all of this is, you know, the idea that here you have a guy who is supposedly a lone wolf. You know, you have multiple people saying multiple things, you know, and everybody's jumping to conclusions about this and that. And I think that's where it gets skewed, because right away it does talk about guns. You know, oh, look at all these bad, evil guns he had. And oh, look, those guns aren't evil. It's the person who was wielding those guns that obviously was evil. And again, it's been already hijacked in regards to what's really going on here. I mean, and what I think is even more telling about who we are as people is you looked at the Washington Post. I think it was the Washington Post. I can't remember which one it was. But they, you know, they had a cartoonist basically have all these dead bodies piled up saying what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You know, and if that is not a telling problem of our society as a whole, I don't know what the hell is anymore. You know, the past couple of days, you know, I've been tweeting, and I know I never tweet, and you know, and this isn't related, but it sort of is, because it's just this utter disgust from people about our country. Like, they just want to change everything. They want to change the culture. They want to change who we are. They want to, you know, bend a knee for the national anthem. You know, you have athletes and celebrities coming out saying, oh, that's fine. Now we have this, and we have people coming out saying guns, guns, guns. And then you have people, you know, putting these cartoons in there of dead bodies and saying, you know, something almost supposedly funny. You know, I mean, what has happened here? You know, so if it's a gun problem, then we should all be having guns and killing each other. But obviously that's not happening. What the problem is we have people in politics, in entertainment, who have hijacked the country, who are making it into what they want it to be, so that everybody can fight each other and everybody can hate one another. Because let's face it, a stupid public is one that is ripe for the picking. And that's exactly what they've done. Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what what they're doing is they're, you know, like I always say, you know, they're just leading the hens or the wolves to the hen house, you know. But, you know, think about this way on the entertainment aspect of it, such as, you know, all these celebrities and all these other people that are saying all this stuff, you know, they have security. They have armed security. Okay. Hillary Clinton, everybody has armed security. You take the armed away from them and they're going to be scared shitless. Right. You know, I mean, that's what it is. You know, they don't want us to have guns, but they want their armed security guards to have guns. So it's, you know, and we don't live in the, you know, $50 million mansions up on the hill in a gated community. We live in the real world. So they don't see the stuff that we see. A lot of them drive around in bulletproof vehicles. You know, I've got customers in El Paso that actually own and have built bulletproof vehicles, and they have to drive around in them. So, you know, it's, and that's taking their kids to school in a bulletproof vehicle. I mean, it's a whole different ball game in the real world. And they don't realize that the actors and all these people that go on and blab all this stupid shit at night, you know, it's a whole different ball game.
Right.
Now, you know, I know we were going to kind of touch on it, you know, and I know that we're getting a lot of questions about it, but kind of give your opinion on what you think.
Go ahead, Case.
As an opinion on, you know, lone wolf, what's your opinion
As far as the actual event itself?
Correct. Correct.
And I'm going based off of just all of the different news articles that I read, and I tried to read as many as I could, because you have to filter through a lot of things that are obviously very biased and very angled, and most everything is these days. I mean, from what I've read, I think he was alone. I mean, yeah, we talked about him being an older gentleman, but this was a guy that was stockpiling firearms, according to the news. And again, this is we're not trying to speculate any more than what the news has already said. Really, at least I don't think we are. But operated by himself and had enough of an arsenal. However, he got it up there. But people take lots of suitcases into hotel rooms. I don't think that's really out of the ordinary. And anymore, firearms can be, you know, packaged away pretty easily. But he seemed like he was pretty well methodical about what he was doing. I mean, this was a guy who was reasonably successful. I think he was an accountant or something like that, and had a couple of various jobs like that. So he was a pretty successful guy, had some money and that sort of thing. So I think he was capable of planning it all out, and then using, I don't know if it was maybe like 17, 18, 19 firearms, something like that. The counts are all different depending on what article you're reading. And then using, if this is true, and I've heard some people say this is true and some not true, that he was using the bump stocks, whatever they are. And based upon some of the audio that I heard on some of the videos, I mean, that really did sound like full automatic fire. Although a lot of people in the press and a lot of the gun haters don't understand that a semi-automatic firearm is as fast as you can pull the trigger, and you can pull the trigger pretty darn quickly.
Right.
But I think he could have pulled it off.
What are your thoughts there, Big Johnson?
My thoughts are he was not a lone wolf. My thoughts are, okay, look at it this way, and this is strictly just an opinion, okay? I don't know any facts. I'm just thinking like everyone else is. And of course, what we read, what we're fed, you know, I take that with a grain of salt. But here's my opinion. Okay, he was a law-abiding citizen, had no arrest, had no warrants, could buy guns, could do what he wanted to do. You know, he could have been a gun collector, okay? Or he could have bought guns for maybe a group that he got mixed up with that was giving him money because they couldn't purchase guns here for a planned activity, such as what he did. I'm saying this is just tongue-in-cheek, but brought the guns in. I don't think a 64-year-old man, and this is just my opinion, I'm not in perfect shape either, I don't think he could get up there and pull this off like he did, or like he was supposedly did. Wagging in guns now, and I go to Vegas twice a year, okay, and I've actually stayed at the Mandalay Bay personally, not in the suite or any of that, but I've stayed there. Every casino in Vegas has facial recognition, okay, they do. You're also under surveillance 24/7 in a casino. You know, we haven't seen any of those tapes yet. I don't know who's looking at them. Also, every time you put your key in the door, it's logged. So they know when you're coming, when you're going. They know everything. If that door was opened by 2 or 3 people, they're going to know that. You know, each card has its own, even though it's the same room, it has its own, you know, I stay in tons of hotels. So that's tracked. You know, was it key number 1, key number 2, key number 3, key number 4, you know, et cetera. You know, there's companies out there. There's one called Face First. They do facial recognition right there in Vegas. Also, Face 6. They're another facial recognition right there in Vegas, and that's ran by the Israelis. You know, there's just companies that do this for a living. And I think to just say this lone wolf carried in, you know, 30 guns and 10,000 rounds of ammo is just way out there. Also, if you notice next to the door where the little, you know, they brought his food and he was room service and they delivered room service to him, those carts are pretty stout. You can carry some weight on them. Who knows if that, you know, and I got room service in Vegas too. And it had a little cover over it, and you couldn't see the bottom area. Who knows? I'm just saying, I think there's a lot more to this than we're probably going to know. And was it only one window? You know, they showed the 2 windows. Who knows where this was coming from? But to me, I've shot bump fires before. I know probably some of our subscribers have too. Bump fires, you've got to get a really good tempo. You got to get that thing going, and that sounded like a belt fed to me. Maybe like a DS Arms RPD, 7.62 by 39, belt fed with a 100-round drum, something to that effect. And those are old rifles, but I don't know. It didn't just sound like a standard bump fire to me. He'd have to have some serious trigger discipline. And then also, if he's a resident of Nevada, every gun range or the higher end gun ranges, and I've shot in Nevada too, but you just go there and use their guns. I haven't brought my own. But, it's video surveillance. So did he go somewhere to practice this bump fire? They would have it on tape. They're going to, every time you check into a gun range, you give your driver's license number so you're logged in there. Where is all of this? Are they checking on this? We don't know any of this yet. I don't know. It's just a little far out there for me.
Well, I think that ultimately there'll be some things that come out about his girlfriend, whatever she is. I think the thing that kind of sent a red flag to me was the simple fact that, she's from the Philippines, and obviously I'm not trying to, say all Filipinos are bad people, but Philippines right now is a hotbed for terrorism. So could there be a connection between him, the Philippines, and some of these groups that are there? Maybe that's a possibility. I get a feeling that what's going to come out is they're not going to be able to link him to any, let's say, Islamic fundamentalist group. I think what they're going to link him to is a leftist radicalized group. Ironically enough, a few days ago, Antifa said there would be a revolution November 9th, I believe it is. Yep. Yep. And all of a sudden now you have people who, let's face it, predominantly we're going to be white, probably blue collar and upper class Americans, gun loving Americans at a country western concert. And that just happens to be a very odd target, like you see these mass killings, and who the hell would ever think a country western venue would be the target? With that being said, interestingly enough, I was listening to a radio program today, and they had a caller, and he was, apparently a veteran. Again, I don't know if that was true or not, but he was saying to him, it really sounded like an M249, the gun that was being shot. And he went into this long sort of, I guess you can say, tirade of why he thought it. And listening to him speak, it was actually about, it was actually a pretty good argument. So yet they didn't recover that gun. They never mentioned that gun. But I would wonder if there were two shooters, I mean, supposedly they have a receipt now of when he ordered food, and it said how many, I guess, people. It said 2. And yeah, you said it. He was 64, whatever, 65 years old. He's got to lug all that crap back and forth. Some of it might be light, some of it might be heavy. Think about all the ammo he had to lug in. And then on top of that, the guns. So, for me, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but something just doesn't seem right about this whole thing. Whether or not it was him or not, great. If it is, then, he's going to have eternity to deal with it. But at the same time, I'd love to know what that connection is, why he sent $100,000. I know Scotty said something about that, but he sent $100,000 to the Philippines. They're tracking that down. So it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if he was anti-conservative, anti-right. Although I heard another guy say that he knew him, and he said that he was actually a supporter of Trump, which, I think it's just so much back and forth bullcrap. Yeah. But like I said, I think the biggest problem we're going to face right now is the backlash to the gun community.
Yeah.
I think another problem that we are potentially going to face, and I hate to say this, but I think we all know that this is a possibility, would be copycat situations where the media does such a piss poor job of not holding back on some of this stuff. We glorify these people, and we allow them to become essentially famous and stars. And I'm not saying in a good way. I'm not saying this is a good thing, but we basically, he is one of the most well-known people in the country right now. You can't deny it. And it leaves the door open, the opportunity for other people that are living on a string, so to speak, to potentially make bad decisions too. And that's what I'm afraid of. That I think is a real concern.
CWB made a good point saying that great, a leftist is the one who now ruins the gun rights of everyone else. But again, that's the perfect person.
Yeah.
Dude, whose speakers are way too loud?
Who, me?
I don't know. Somebody's is.
Not me, buddy.
You don't hear that echo?
Nope, just you.
Just you.
Okay.
Okay. Like when now that we're, talking about some of these things, and even a lot of the hotels actually have license plate recognition too. They get cameras out there and they can check license plates. Do you think that, how do you think this is going to end? Now, think about it this way. If the guy was considered a patsy, or hey, the deal was over and something went bad, boom, he's the guy that's left there. They take him out and they run out in the mass hysteria. Oh, and they're the bad guys, but they're able to run out like someone's shooting at them. How do you think this is going to come out? It's just all going to be blamed on this guy?
Go ahead, Cass.
I think probably, unless some sort of revelation comes out, yes, I think so.
Is that it?
Oh, I got it.
I think how it's going to play out, I think we're going to have another fight on our hands. I think we're going to have to somehow justify why we have these firearms available. And, I think that's where it's going to head. I think we're going to have to go to the courts, and hopefully Trump doesn't bail on us.
No, I hope not.
Yeah. They've already kind of shelved the suppressor deal, Hearing Act deal. For now.
Right. Yeah. And I sort of think that may have gone away.
And it could.
Yeah. I don't think that's coming back anytime soon.
The thing that concerns me about this too, and of course everybody knows that I travel a lot and stay in tons of hotels. And I travel with firearms, but I'm a good guy. And I'm not going to leave them in my car. If they go into this metal detector thing or whatever, am I going to walk in and, they're going to go beep, I'm going to go off and they're going to say, oh, you've got guns, and I'm going to show a CHL. That's private to me, and they don't need to know that. Am I going to be treated like a criminal now?
Well, probably, because with obviously a private business has a right to refuse your entry. So I can see that happening.
But none of them are posted. The ones I stay in, they'll say no open carry, but concealed is fine. I won't stay in one honestly, I don't even think I've ever seen one posted no guns, period.
I think Marriott does that. I've stayed at quite a few Marriotts that say no firearms allowed.
Yeah, well, I've stayed at, I stay at Marriott. I'm a Diamond member, but I've never, not where I stay anyway. It could be state to state difference.
Right.
So, but are they going to have somebody man the door? I just don't see how that, now maybe in Vegas or, in a gambling where there's a lot of money, things like that, maybe.
I think one of the other problems that we're going to face too now is what else are we going to have to be worried about? It's, you have these huge venues, you have sporting events, and let's be honest, we've been very, very lucky in this nation. We haven't seen many of these type of acts. Have we seen them in the past? Yeah. Dude, who's echoing like crazy?
It might be me. All
right, hit your mute button for a second. So anyway, testing. Yeah,
hello.
You.
Hello.
It's KS. We finally got the culprit. But anyway, as I was saying was, we have a lot of soft targets in the nation. And my concern now is that we've been exposed. Whether this guy was linked to any organization or not, to me, now it's given others the idea, wow, look how soft we really are as a nation. Yeah. We have schools that have no security. We have, maybe they have one resource officer or something like that. You have hospitals, you have, venues like sporting events that have relatively good security, but, shopping malls, you name it. And now we have this happen. And now we're going to, I can automatically say we'll see copycats because now they're going to be emboldened to try this. And, that's why I say to eliminate gun rights of Americans would be the dumbest thing they could do, because then it would leave us totally defenseless. And even in this situation, even if we were all there, and we had guns on us, let's be honest, would there have been anything for us to be able to do? I mean, the distance alone, I don't think a handgun would have been able to do anything with that, you know? So it puts us in a very bad spot.
Yeah. And I've talked to several people, you know, about this, saying, you know, of course I'm CHL, you know, some of my friends are in that situation where you're in the middle of that mess and you've got rifle, and we all know this, you know, a pistol usually doesn't win against a rifle. Okay. In certain circumstances, especially like this from a distance away, you know, no one's going to pinpoint that and take them out. But what could we have done? You know, I mean, stood out there trying to get people to, you know, run, or would you just go and protect you and your loved ones? And,
Right.
you know, it's just a situation. Now, if someone was in the crowd with a gun, you know, a pistol or whatever, that's a different situation. But from up top, I mean, that's where snipers come in. That's where SWAT. That's where, you know, that's where the big boys come in, not your average, you know, just average citizen.
or if you're bald and curious.
Oh yeah, he could get him with that SFX. Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Chaos? Now that we muted you,
I know I feel like I'm in the penalty box. Is the echo back?
no, it's
Nope.
good for now.
Damn it! I'll work harder at that. No, as far as handling the situation, I have absolutely no idea. I would probably be doing everything I could to try and get as many people to safety as I could. I would hope that would be my primary concern. I mean, we all, I think, probably imagine being the hero and, you know, trying to do the things that we have trained in one way or another to do, or talked about doing, or watched other people doing, or whatever your deal is. But I think at the end of the day, especially in that situation, and you guys are exactly right, he had the advantage. He had the high ground. I think that the best defense at that point in time is trying to get as many people to safety as possible, and then hopefully providing some aid to those that were injured. You know, that leave the other stuff to the experts, because again, this is not a guy running into the middle of the crowd with a handgun. That's a totally different deal. In the middle of a country show, he probably would have been taken out pretty quickly, I would imagine. But in this case, that it didn't happen that way.
Now, you brought up something kind of interesting also when you said, you know, go in there and try to help as many people as you could. You know, that was something I was thinking about also. You know, the response at that point, you would never have allowed any kind of EMS, fire or EMS crews to get in there. The scene was unsafe. They couldn't clear it. I mean, what did they say? 72 minutes before they even stopped this guy. So at that point, they would never have been able to ever have gotten any fire EMS crews on scene, because until that scene was clear, they would not go in. And, you know, unfortunately, you can have all the training in the world you want, you know, maybe set up a tourniquet at best. You know, I've heard people say apply pressure. Look, you're talking about gunshot wounds. A lot of these gunshot wounds may have been penetration wounds without an exit hole. You're not going to be stopping bleeding if it's internal, you know. And not only that, but if you are lucky enough to be able to set up an IV, drop some saline, great. But you got to get them right out of there, because all you're doing is filling up their cavity with more fluid. And so, you know, it was just I guess you could say the perfect storm of problems. You know, even the people who were wounded, they wouldn't have been able to be saved anyway, because you could not get EMS crews in there.
I do want to bring up one thing, and I'm sure y'all probably saw it. Did anyone see the interview about a guy that was there with his buddy, and his buddy, he said his buddy was standing right next to him. And now there's one video where he has his shirt on. There's another video where he has his shirt off. And he says, and you can go on and look at this guy, okay? It's the shit he says just blew me away. He says, yeah, me and my buddy were taking on, or, you know, he was taking on shots. My buddy was shot in the chest, okay? Shot in the chest, and we were still trying to help people. And then my buddy was shot again in the chest, but we were still trying to help people. And he comes out to where his buddy was shot 3 times in the chest. Okay. And then the anchor man looks at him and goes, well, how's your buddy? And he says, oh, he's okay.
You know, it could have been a ricochet. It could have been, you know, flesh wound. But I mean, who knows, man? Or he was just one lucky SOB.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just very strange.
Yeah, and you know, I don't have any experience with bump fired guns. I don't know if either one of you do, but just listening to the video over and over and over again, and just listening to those shots going off after one after each other, you know, again, I don't know. I've never fired one. I've never fired a fully automatic rifle, but damn, I'd be hard to believe that that was a bump fire, just from the speed of the way those shots were being rained down on people. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I've shot bump fire before, and I can't remember the brand of it, but I mean, you know, like, and I'm not a bump fire expert. I never claimed to be. Okay, so please don't beat me up over it. But you know, I watched my buddy do it, and he was okay with it. But if you don't keep the perfect, proper angle of pulling it back, like if if you try to kick it left or right, he would have to stop and redo it. And then I tried it, and I kind of got a little tempo going, and then it messed up. I mean, it just didn't work great for me. Not saying, somebody who's super proficient in it couldn't make it work, but I don't know, man. It just sounded too rapid for me, just as, I don't know. It's just me. And I'm not saying it was full blown automatic, but it must have had like a tricked out Geisley trigger and maybe had that and a bump fire. I don't know, but they were getting it pretty well. So I don't know.
I'm wondering if perhaps we ought to move on to other things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure, man. Go for it.
Okay. Well, the spotlight turns on me. That was just a suggestion. Shit, I didn't actually have anything.
You're the guy dropping the ideas. Go for it.
Well, I was starting to see some of the comments say this is getting old a little bit, which I appreciate very much. So what else is new in the world of guns? I guess one thing. A couple of us did get emails from Sig Sauer. I see that right there. Look at that. Number one. Emails from Sig Sauer about the P320. However, it was not the actual email saying, okay, here's your shipping label, go ahead and send it to us. It was basically a placeholder saying, hey, an email is going to be coming very soon, and it's going to have your return shipping label and all that kind of stuff. But this is, I guess, the first one, at least. At least we're hearing something now. We've been waiting for almost 2 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got the email too. I know we all got the email. Whatever. I mean, it is what it is, right? I just think it's awfully crazy that SIG took a long time to acknowledge this, and they're taking a longer time for people to send their stuff in. So.
Yeah, and then we also got emails about the new Walther pistol that coming out, October 17th?
That's right. That's why I'm wearing that right there. Yeah. They just emailed me today saying.
But it's all blurred out. So us three have been guessing what it was.
Well, they're sending me one.
Huh?
They're sending me one.
Oh yeah, okay.
They are.
Okay.
They emailed me today saying, you know what, you've been with us since the beginning.
Oh, God, whatever, dude.
Your channel is so damn good, and it's exploding. We want to send you a gun.
All right. And then I woke up. Maybe you need to tweet about it. But anyway, they sent it out, but it was all blurred out, so we're trying to guess what it is. Some are saying subcompact. I think it looks to me like a full size from the length of the trigger guard down where the grip is. It looks like a bigger grip, and it looks longer on the barrel from the trigger guard all the way to the end of the muzzle. And it has a red fiber optic on the front. It looks like there's something red on the front. So I'm thinking it might be like a new Q5, like a 2 version, maybe with a larger capacity.
Nope.
I think it's going to be a subcompact. I think it's going to be a lot like the SK.
I agree. I think it's going to be it's kind of going to be an all-around new PPQ subcompact with an extended barrel, maybe like a 4.5 inch, 4 inch, with a subcompact grip with an extension on it. I think they're going to do all at one.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It could be. It could, be the subcompact where, like the M&P 9C came out with the end, because the bottom looks squared, but the top looks a little more rounded. So I don't know. It could very well be that.
Yeah, and I also think it seemed like the bore axis was lower, or the grip looked almost 1911-ish. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but
Yeah, it looks squared, and the trigger guard is huge. I mean, it looks like it's really big and squared. Mateo's saying it's a P10 clone.
it's actually a Gen 6 Glock.
Maybe Walther's got the new rotating barrel.
Well, Sean put in there that it's a new PPQ M3. They actually came out with a PPQ M3 in Germany already. And supposedly it's being used by law enforcement and the military, but I have not been able to find any pictures of it.
Yeah, did y'all see the new Glock 46?
What?
Yeah, I'm not making this up. I saw it on Guns and Gadgets. It's a new Glock 46. The Glock already has the patent for it, and it actually has a rotating barrel in the patent. Not making it up. Go on Guns and Gadgets and look at it.
Glock 46.
So I am not casting doubt into what you were saying. I definitely believe what you said, what you're saying. I would wager a bet that is absolutely not going to happen. Why would Glock completely reinvent the mechanism that works their guns when they've taken such a hard stance for whatever 30 plus years on basically the exact same gun with a few minor tweaks? I mean, maybe it is going to happen. And if that's the case, they're going to come out and say, April Fools, here's the actual Gen 5.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, they've got their test supposedly. Now this is from the article. A lot of it's written in German, and he even attached the article on there. But the patent shows that it's been filed, and it's the Glock 46 with a rotating barrel.
There, I'm just going to put this up really quick. That's the article right there. Glock 46 solicited pistol is can't read it backwards. It says is real, and it has a rotating barrel.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
All right, fair enough.
That'll be
they're
real.
they're supposedly testing it with some I don't know if it's a firearm, I don't know if it's a police department or what, but they're supposedly testing it.
German police.
Yeah, German. Is that what it is? German police?
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks pretty interesting though. Oh, and it even has a little beaver tail. See the beaver tail where it sticks out on the back?
Yeah.
So will they call that the Gen 5.5?
On the slide, it says Glock 46.
Speaking of Gen 5, I got an interesting email from Grab-A-Gun. They're putting them on sale already. What a shocker.
Yep. Oh, they're going to go down even more.
Yeah, it's because they all bought way too many.
Yeah, I know Grab-A-Gun because the first day they released, they had them for 400 and remember that email I sent you, $455 or something on the 19 and the 17.
So according to Bald and Curious, Glock copied Grand Power.
Yeah, well, actually, I was going to say Beretta's had it, and there's, they're not the first. Actually, High Power had it first, I think. Or I mean, Browning Design had it first.
It was
High rotating barrel.
Yeah, Browning came out with the design of it way back when, I think. But everybody in Bald and Curious's world, everybody copies, Grand Power.
Yeah, right. I'm still waiting for Glock to come out with the 1911.
Who knows? Who was the company that tried that polymer 1911? Way back when.
Wasn't that ATI?
Who was it?
Wasn't it ATI?
Yes. Yeah, that thing, man. They were talking about
badass though.
Huh?
I think the thing was pretty badass.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They announced it, and then it just went. I haven't heard anything else about it.
KS, you need to adjust your microphone volume.
God damn it!
Did it ever come out? Did anyone see it like in the world?
I never saw it in the world. I know that I saw a review on it. What was it? Graham Bates, I think is his name.
Yeah.
He did a review on it.
Oh, okay.
And, it looked pretty nice. I mean, I'm not a 1911 guy, but that would be one I would consider. But then again, what do I know about 1911s besides nothing?
Oh, and also I saw it today for the first time. STI has a new 2011, and it's their introductory one, and it's called a Hawk. Yeah. And it's it's a really nice one, but it comes in at $14.99.
$15?
$1,499 is the cheapest 2011 I've seen.
I was like, count me in.
Yeah, and it's made by
So
it's made by STI.
I've got an interesting question for everybody out there who's watching, all 6 of you and the other 2 guys on this panel. So my question is this. Do you think carrying multiple types of guns is smart, or should you stay with one particular brand of gun?
You want this one first, KS?
No, I'm responding to a comment. Go ahead.
Okay. I think multiple, because now granted, you should be proficient, in your carry firearms, but I look at it this way. If something were to go awry or something crap hit the fan and you had to grab someone else's gun, I think it would be great to know how to use it, and be somewhat proficient in it. But then again, you've heard that tale, or that, where it's like, use one gun, stick with it, especially a lot of the Glock guys, they know every single thing about a Glock, can tear it down, they can do everything in the world to it, but they know that firearm like the back of their hand. But on some of those guys, you would hand them a 1911 or hand them a different, like a PPQ, and they'd be like, okay, this one's different.
I just wanted to say goodbye to Candy.
Bye, Candy.
Bye, Candy.
I think it's good to be, to have multiple or different brands, personally. That's my opinion.
And so I would totally echo that. And in fact, Crazy Scotsman said multiple's fine as long as you train. I think that's very well said, and I think a lot of people here would totally agree with that. I think most people have a sort of primary or go-to firearm that is really your trusted. You know it works. It feels good. You shoot well. Blah blah blah. And so that's kind of your go-to deal. But I totally agree. I think having some sort of familiarity with every operating system, whether it's double single action, 1911, revolver, whatever it happens to be, and be able to be at least somewhat proficient with those, but obviously having your go-to tool, so to speak. So I'm a believer in multiple.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting to the point now where one thing I noticed was if I go to like shooting the P01, going from a striker fire, it takes me a little bit to get back into the idea that I can shoot this, especially on that first pull. If I put it back on decock and have it half cocked, I'm just finding myself kind of gravitating to the idea that I really need to start working on really just shooting these double single actions a little bit more, because you get a little bit lazy with the striker fire.
No, you do. I totally agree with that. And that's with this competition deal. That's why I like it so much, because I can take a striker fire out there and shoot with it, or I can take a double action, single action. So it just gives you a little variety between the two. But and hell, if I had to take a revolver out there, just a double action revolver, hell, I don't know how I would do with it. That's one pistol, and I've got them, but I just don't train with them. I'm just not a revolver.
Taylor's absolutely right. You do get spoiled with these striker fire guns. I mean, when you're shooting guns that have these amazing triggers on them that really make you a better shooter. And I know some people say that's not true, but it is. You have better control on that trigger. It's easier to pull the trigger. You have less of a flinching movement. So yeah, you do get spoiled. You're absolutely correct.
But hey, it depends on the double action, single action pistol too. If you've got one that it's got a 12-pound double action, yeah, it can wear you out. But once you get to the single action, and like I tell people when they're like, well, I don't know about a double action, single action, the double action's so hard. I'm like, well, it is for the first pull. Then after that, you're going into single action unless you decock it or, drop the hammer every single time, which you're not going to do.
Right.
I mean, we've both proven it. Your P07, hell, your first pull is not all that great, but the second pull's, 3 pounds, 8 ounces.
Right.
That's less than most striker fire.
Yep.
So, that's what I'm saying. I think if people would try them and train with them, I think more people, to have the double strike capability, I think a lot of people would really like them. Right. It's just everybody's like, oh, I'm so used to striker fire, I don't want that.
Yeah, the G-Man 99 actually brought up a good point. He said he carried a 1911 on duty, and when he switched to his P01, he kept riding the decocker. One of the things that I would tell you with that is where I tend to put this thumb, I tend to put the thumb underneath the actual little ledge here of the decocker, and I actually kind of push up with the thumb, so it keeps that decocker in place. But that's just what I do, and I'm far from an expert.
Well, hell, y'all have seen my videos. You know, I can shoot a striker fire. If I shoot a PPQ or a VP9, if I don't fold, you know, this thumb over, hell, I hit the slide lock every single damn time with my meat hands. So that's what I'm saying. It all goes, if you'll just train, you know, to keep your thumb over, and that's being, you know, whatever you're carrying that morning, you need to be aware of it, period, whatever gun it is.
Let's see.
I think growing up on 1911 is a little bit of an advantage because I was taught to keep your main thumb away from the gun, so you weren't riding the slide release or anything like that. Because on 1911s, especially older ones, I mean, I grew up on World War II 1911s. It was very easy to ride that release, and it would never lock open. So my thumb is never anywhere near the gun. And now current grip fashion would say that's incorrect. You should have both thumbs against the gun. I totally disagree with that, and that's why my guns stay open. They hold open on the last round.
Well, but that's, you know, goes back to a lot of the competition pistols, you know, like G-Man was saying, you know, a lot of those you're gonna once you flip that safety down, you're gonna ride that safety to help hold down that muzzle, you know.
All right. So Kevin Roberts had a quick question. I want to try to get through some of these questions before we end this tonight. He's saying here, how many problems have you guys seen with the CZP-10C? Aside from seeing a few videos and just my own having some issues, I've seen a few. I mean, not too many, but a few. What about you guys?
I've had no issues with mine. I've owned two. Now the black one that I got in the very beginning, I probably only put 300 or 400 rounds through, but it worked fine. And then FP has come up on 1,000 round now, and it's been flawless. And because of 1776's issues that he's had with his, I've kept a pretty close eye on all the internals and to see if there's any weird wear or you know, you had some of that sort of slide and bounce or creep a little bit, especially as it warmed up. So I'm trying to keep an eye on that and see if I could see that in mine, and I've not seen any issues at all.
And I've only, you know, have you two guys to go on, and then of course what I see on the internet, and I think it's a lot more positive than way more positive than any kind of negative.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's a great gun, and I can't explain what was going on with mine, but I felt the best course of action would be to send it back to CD, and I think now it's been 4 weeks. I think 3 or 4 weeks. I think 4 weeks, and nothing yet. You know, they just send you a weekly email, kind of telling you what the status is. So far, they're still looking at it.
But you know, as a first run gun, you know, I have a feeling they're going to go through yours with a fine-tooth comb.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, when you get it back, and of course, you know, I know you're going to do your testing and things, but I feel pretty confident that they're not just going to send you a piece of junk back and continue to have problems with it.
It's not Century Arms.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's a whole nother ball game.
But you won't get a free gun either.
No, damn it! Don't remind me.
Yeah.
Right.
But you have to pay for shipping. You have to pay for, yeah, and you got to pay for shipping both ways.
Yeah, I know. That's the new trend, apparently.
Well, for them. Right. Gun check.
Go ahead.
Laptop.
It's loaded. It's the M&P Compact, or 9C. I'm sorry, my version of Compact, but it's got the 17-round mag in it. So,
Old Glory, baby.
There you go.
This has been this gun is just getting to me to be the best gun that I have right now that I just love. I love the way it looks. I love this damn trigger. It's just awesome. Just awesome. Still love the Steyr though.
Yeah, I saw the green long slide today, the L 509.
Green?
Yep, 509.
Really?
Yep.
That's okay.
I got a question from CWB. Nice. Big Johnson still carrying the P320. I actually carried the 320 on Saturday. You know, I didn't drop it on the ground. I have pretty good handle on my guns. And I had it with me on Saturday, or on me. Famous last words.
So I'm glad you brought that up. I've got the P320 out right now. I basically, guys, this has pretty much gathered dust in my safe for the last, I don't know, whatever, 2 months, 2.5 months, something like that. And it finally done. Will you quit throwing guns on the screen, weirdo?
I'm just responding.
And it finally really frustrated me that this has not been shot. It's not been touched. It has not been on any videos or anything like that. And so I'm kind of curious. I mean, I've already talked to these two fools about this a little bit, but I'm curious to the rest of the crowd. What would you think if you started seeing P320s on videos again? I really want to get this back in a damn video, regardless of whether it has the right trigger or not, because it's got to be fixed, but I also don't drop my guns. So I kind of want to get back in a video. I'm tired of it just sitting around debating, so I'm kind of curious about that. So CWB is still carrying a 320. That's probably a thumbs up for him.
Matter of fact, the store I was in today, outside waistband, the guy behind the counter had his 320, and I said, you know, I know him. And I was like, oh, got your 320 on? He's like, yep. I said, be careful. Don't bump against a counter. You know, I was joking with him, and he said, I'm not worried about it. And I said, me either, you know.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I have a confession to make. I had a really good offer on my 320. And so I have parted ways with it again. I don't feel bad either. You know, out of all the guns I own, that was probably my least favorite gun. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
So
you don't have to worry about sending it in.
Yeah, I had my 320 still.
I still like the gun. I think it's a good gun, and it certainly was one of the bigger guns for this year. So I have to give it a little bit of credit. And I've got some grand designs for a couple of videos towards the end of the year, so I have to kind of have it around.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So we're
Balding Curious has a really big issue with his P10C. He still doesn't have one.
Well,
That's
go out and buy
issue.
one.
That is a big issue.
And Mateo's going to go get that M40. Good luck. I hope it works out. Maybe we can find 357 SIG barrels for him.
6 is saying something. What's he saying? We got to, okay, 6. What do you?
Oh, he was asking what gun you were holding up, probably. I'm not sure which one you were holding up, like 9 different guns.
Who,
this
me
one here?
or him?
That's the PO1.
I never saw his question, so I didn't know.
I think that's probably what he was asking about.
Oh, yeah, what was that, 1776? Yeah, CZP01.
He's saying, is he invisible?
Yeah, he says he says these assholes won't answer my question. He's unsubscribing to all of us.
Mateo, with the 357 barrel, there is a company that was making them for the Steyrs. If I ever remember it, I will PM you and let you know. I actually looked them up online. I don't know if they're a functional company anymore. Up to about like 2 months ago, they were good, and then they disappeared. So I don't know what happened with that. But there was a company making them. All right, so we got 5. What do we got? We got 4 minutes left. So let's go around, whatever you guys got going on, and we'll say goodnight to our beloved audience.
Go ahead, KS.
Okay, I've got some product reviews coming up. I have received very, very thankfully and graciously a couple of very nice products to review, so I need to get those out the door, so I'm not sitting on them forever. Some other gun reviews, although not really any new gun reviews right now, unfortunately, because there's really nothing out there right now that is wetting my whistle, so to speak. However, I will be doing non-Glock videos for a while. I've had several people say in the comments they are tired of Glock, and I totally get it. I kind of am too. So you're going to see some videos that are non-Glock related here for a while at least. So that's really all I've got going on right now.
6 is okay. He was talking about the flagged one. Your flag gun.
19, man. Glock 19. You should watch my videos. Maybe you'd know that.
Gen 4. I have. I'll be shooting the Shadow 2 this weekend at the Action Pistol Match. Got a compact holster, and also I have some shooting gear that's kind of weird.
Where's he going? He disappeared.
I'm right here. I got something to kind of hold my feet in place. So I'll be putting those to the test. And also on the Hellfire ammo, that stuff is awesome. It's ran through. Actually, I went to 7-Up's place and we did a ton of shooting Saturday. And the Hellfire went through every single tons of pistols that I have. So I ordered another 1,000 rounds. So anyway, I'm liking that stuff.
Cool. All right.
Nice.
What's the matter? What's up?
He said nice.
Oh,
Nice.
okay. I actually have 5 pistols that I have purchased legally and still have not been able to get, thanks to New York State's awesome speedy system. So once I get those, you'll see them. And it actually, I think it's 6, not 5. I've got problems, but yeah, I mean, as soon as I get them, you guys will see them, and I'm going to shoot them and see what I think of them. And you know, I've been real happy with this, whatever this is, this Battleborn stuff. That HP Pro is excellent. But other than that, I got nothing really in the works, man. I'm just taking some time away, I think, from filming anything. I might do some like brief comparisons, or just, you know, ask basic questions to people and have you guys all respond with lots of thumbs down and FUs and you know, stuff like that. Oh, and I just wanted to bring this up, and then we're going to go. The other day, I had a really rude comment on one of my videos that both these guys know about. And if you guys watch my videos, apparently Is Your Six Cover doesn't. But if you watch my videos, you're going to notice my hands shake. And I just want everybody to know it's not because I'm a crackhead. I actually have something called essential tremor, which causes my hands to shake. So if you see my hands shaking, it's not because I'm a drug addict or some old guy who you can't trust with a gun. I'm actually a pretty darn good shot. At least I think so, when I want to be. And you know, I'm just letting you guys know. So when you do see it, I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah. Also, real quick, don't forget about the Crazy Scotsman's drawing tonight. You know, it's going to be after the chat. I think it's 30 minutes after our chat ends, about 8:30. So please tune in for that. And also check out our gear on Abaddon Apparel. This is his Carry Life. So check out all the goodies on there. And it's a great Second Amendment. You know, they have articles, things like that. So please check it out.
Hey, real quickly, a couple things. Craig, thank you for saying that. Yes, this is 99.9% of the time a gun chat. Tonight was kind of an oddball deal, but we thought it was very relevant. But yes, we'll be back to guns next week for sure. And Wicked, for you, it'll be nothing but pistols, because you said no pistols. And also, guys, check out Abaddon Apparel. No one has checked out Abaddon Apparel yet. I've been watching. None of you guys have checked it out. So you need to go check it out. You have to check it out. So go over there, damn it.
That's right. Or you're going to force us to go to Patreon.
That's right. No, there's good stuff there. There are some good blogs there that are pretty interesting as well. Humble Marksman's written a couple things, and more stuff on the way. So there's some other really cool stuff on there. It's worth a look-see. And then you can buy everybody's shirts too. So there's that. But thanks everybody for joining us.
Absolutely, guys. And stay safe out there. Keep carrying your firearms. Do not let them, you know, take away our rights, and keep fighting a good fight.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Carry on.
Good night,
Later,
guys.
guys.
Oh, I'm still on.